with the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty. Okay, and you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do. But it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah, and
first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing, but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove. But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll
Go on.
just say one other thing is,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
Mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you, and that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously helps with ranking and why certain players are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what
thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered. Whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. I know somebody in the live chat wanted to know the score in the Leslo-Gers match. Gers has won against the Frenchman Van Asch, 6-7, 6-4, 6-4. I'm sharing that score with you on the screen right now. But of course, I am here to give you commentary of Sebastian Baez against Taylor Fritz. Taylor Fritz is serving first and is already up 30-15. He's very much in charge of this latest rally as he comes into the net, doesn't put the volley away, but he does it the second time of asking. So he now has 2 game points for a 1-love lead. And of course, Taylor Fritz is in the midst of this battle along with Holger Rune and Hubie Hurkacz, among others. But those are the principal 3 players, if you like, in the spot or in with the chance of winning the 8th spot in Turin. That is not to say, of course, that Stefanos Tsitsipas and Alexander Zverev don't have a little bit of work to do, but Zverev and Tsitsipas already have 1 foot in those finals. So really, it feels like a 3-way fight for the final spot. Has Baez put that forehand away? It was an aggressive one. He has. So it's 40-30 here. Dimitrov and Musetti as well are just getting underway in Paris Bercy. Thompson and Nishioka are on serve, as you can see, as they head towards the end of that first set, 6-5. So you are up to date with all the scores that are happening right now. Yeah, and here we are. Taylor Fritz goes down the tee on the first serve, but it must have clipped the net. So it's going to be another shot at first servedom. Please do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. 3 minutes on the clock, and we still haven't finished this first service game here. It's going to be a second serve for Baez to look at. Backhand return, hell of a kick on that one from Taylor Fritz, and is very much in charge of the rally as a result. But he puts his forehand into the net, and we're back at deuce. Yeah, by the way, this match came after the match between Mannarino and Van der Zandschulp. Van der Zandschulp did really well to cope with a very vociferous home crowd and the fact that he didn't manage to serve it out at the first time of asking. So, but he did in the end win in straight sets. So good for him. He is through. Still one of the highest ranked players, along with Davidovich Fokina on the tour, who've yet to win a title. Taylor Fritz, of course, has won many titles, including a Masters 1000 in Indian Wells last year. But this year has been not as good as last year, let's say that. Anyway, he's serving here, and he holds for a 1-love lead over the Argentinian. So Baez will serve next as they change ends. By the way, talking of not being able to serve it out, Andy Murray, across 2 matches in Paris last year and this year, has had 3 chances to serve out matches. Last year against Gilles Simon, and this year he had 2 against his nemesis at the moment, Alex de Minaur. And he didn't take either of them and ended up losing 7-5 in the 3rd set. A very painful loss for Murray. He's been on the wrong end of a few recently, but it feels like this was the worst, as he couldn't quite overcome the demons, particularly against this player, de Minaur, who he keeps coming up against and losing. The last one was extremely narrow as well in Asia. And here he was leading 5-2 with a double break and couldn't close it out on both occasions. Very painful, and he was seen smashing his racket at the end. By the way, do make sure you subscribe. About 60% or even more will tune into this watch along, and they're not subscribers. We need subscribers. So over there's a T button in the corner. Click on it and become a subscriber and help support the channel. So, Les Leger is through. Alex de Minaur is also through in some of the matches that occurred earlier on today. And Baez is serving here, having lost the first game. Fritz is nice forehand winner. Baez was not quite sure if it landed in, but it did. Do get voting in our poll, by the way, who you think is going to win between Baez and Fritz. We've got that going at the moment. It's 50-50, which kind of feels, yeah, Fritz has to be the favorite. Baez indoor hard. Fritz didn't do well, of course, last year in Paris Bercy, where he lost to Gilles Simon in the 2nd round. But was looking good in Turin until he put that forehand into the net against Novak. When he was serving for the first set. I think he was serving for the first set. He had a set point at that point. And somebody screamed out from the crowd, if you remember. I'm pretty sure it wasn't his girlfriend who screamed out from the crowd. I just saw how they see in Paris Bercy. Somebody else in Paris Bercy is Tommy Paul, who was spotted in a very well-known burger chain's having dinner the other day. I saw somebody post that on Twitter. Not McDonald's, by the way, not Burger King, the other one. Five Guys, that's the one. Anyway, 30 all here because Baez has just put a backhand into the net. And Thompson and Nishioka are into a tiebreak. Taylor Fritz on the forehand. That's something you don't really want to be going towards too often, but this time his forehand is too big. He goes into the net, Fritz, and it's a game point for Baez. Looks like there's some chat between a couple of people in the chat that seem to know each other. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, please hit like on this video. It really does help. Okay, game point here for Baez. Second serve goes into the net, so we're back at deuce. He's double faulted. Dimitrov and Musetti, I think they're warming up at the moment. Forehand, Baez goes into the... No, he doesn't because there's a second serve. Forehand return is a bit awkward from Fritz. Backhand Fritz to the backhand of Baez. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, Fritz has now got a couple more votes, it seems, or at least one more vote, and now heavily wins. It's heavily leading there. And Baez has held serve for one game all. So in the meantime, get voting in our poll. tweet out there. So 1 game all, Taylor Fritz to serve. Who are we tipping to win the tournament? Novak's draw is pretty tricky, actually, for a change. Let's just have a quick look at the draw and see where everyone lands. Musetti has held serve in his first game against Dimitrov, so Dimitrov to serve there. Nishioka and Thompson are at 3-all in their tiebreak, so they couldn't be closer. 6 games all, 3 points all at the change of ends. And here's the draw, by the way, as Fritz wins it's 15-all between Fritz and Baez on Fritz's serve right now. So if we have a look here, Djokovic's first round could be against his compatriot Kecmanovic or Echeverry. Next round will be Talon Grigspor or Davidovich Fekina. Davidovich Fekina overcoming Ben Shelton today. That's a good win for the Spaniard over the informed Ben. Maybe Ben has just got a bit too many matches in his legs in recent weeks, and that may well have meant he was a bit tired in the second and third sets there, it seems. So that pretty much rules out Ben's outside chance of making Turin. Someone who's got a very good chance of making Turin, though, or a good chance of making Turin or a chance. I'm bringing it down. Taylor Fritz, he's 30-15 up here right now on his serve, although it's a second serve for Baez to look at. Paris Bercy doesn't feel as though, and Fritz wins that point, Paris Bercy doesn't feel as though it's quite as quick as Turin. You know, it feels like there's a few more breaks of serve out there, which is why we see players not quite able to close it out, such as Andy Murray today. Painful. So, yes, I was thinking Ben Shelton could be tricky, but Davidovich Fekina may be a little bit less so for Novak. Of course, they did play each other in Cincinnati recently, and the first set was pretty nip and tuck until Davidovich Fekina picked up what appeared to be a back injury and unfortunately had to retire from that match. So, yeah, I still expect Novak to win those 2 matches against either Davidovich Fekina or Talon Grigspor in the third round and potentially Kecmanovic in the second. But then who would be next? Well, Fritz, Fils, Holger Rune in the quarterfinal. That would be the one, I guess. Holger Rune. You know, we beat him in Paris last year, but this Holger Rune, by the way, is a very different beast right now compared to then. Taylor Fritz has held serve, by the way. And Thompson and Nishioka are still very, very, very deep in their tiebreak. Let's have a quick look over in that tiebreak, actually. 4-all now, they are. So nothing to choose between these 2 players, the Australian and the Japanese, 4-all in their tiebreak. Hi, Jane, by the way. Please do hit the like button, everybody. Hi, Matthew. Great to have you on board. Please hit that like button. What's happened with the schedule after the Long Murray match? Well, I mean, there is at least one more match that they need to complete on centre court, but if this Baez match is done in straight sets, I think they should be just about all right. I think there's only one more match on centre court, which is it Gasquet, maybe? Is that the other one? Gasquet against Tommy Paul. That'll be up after Baez and Fritz. Djokovic is indeed playing tomorrow, but you're right. I would imagine that it will be a night match, partly because it's Novak Djokovic and they want as many people going as they can, so as many Parisians that are working in the day as possible in attendance, but also because, of course, we still don't know who his opponent will be. So nice backhand winner there for Fritz to win the first point of the game on the Baez serve, so love 15. Yeah, let's have a quick look. Kecmanovic. Oh, my goodness me. But Kecmanovic and Echeverri are playing tomorrow morning. That doesn't make any sense. You're telling me Kecmanovic and Echeverri have got to play tomorrow morning, and then the winner will play Djokovic later on in the day? Surely not. I don't know why they've put... Why Google could be wrong here. Let me go back to the schedule for today. Oh, Nishioka's won that tiebreak. Nishioka's won the tiebreak. Good question, Javier or Xavier. Not very, is my answer. Since he lost to Ben Shelton in New York, and even that defeat inclusive, I don't know if we've had a great few months for Tommy. It hasn't really looked like winning any of the tournaments. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there. But it hasn't looked like Tommy Paul is going to be tearing up anything. Did he make the quarters last year? I think he did, and I thought he would make the semis. I think he lost to Tsitsipas in the quarters. Oh, we've got 3 break points here for Taylor Fritz on the Baez serve. Backhand return. Forehand Taylor. Forehand Baez. Oh, Baez has put it wide, and Taylor Fritz has broken. 3 games to 1. Baez is looking quite annoyed. That was a careless forehand into the tram lines. And in the end, it was a comfortable break to serve to love. Taylor Fritz will serve at 3-1. I can't believe that Kecmanovic and Echeverri are playing tomorrow morning. I wonder if they might put the Novak match back to Wednesday as a result. Unless that's wrong. Let me just have a quick look at the schedule for right now, because Google's been getting things wrong the last few days. Centre court, we have just 2 more matches. So we've got, is that 3? I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. These 3 matches have all got to take place on centre court. Fritz Baez, Tommy Paul, Richard Gasquet, and Wawrinka Dominic Thiem. If your question, though, is about Tommy Paul specifically today, I think he'll beat Gasquet. I mean, the home crowd will do their best to pull Gasquet over the line, as they did with Mannarino today. But I just think the gap between the two will be too much. Lovely backhand down the line there for Taylor Fritz to bring up 15 love. It's now 30 love to Taylor Fritz on his serve as he looks to consolidate that break. Dimitrov and Musetti remain on serve at 1-2. Forehand Fritz. That's a short ball there from Baez, but Fritz doesn't punish it. But Baez ends up going long for another unforced error. 40 love. And what's that? Is that, I'm going to say 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 points in a row, potentially, for Taylor Fritz right now. Hola, Ventanagris. Pulsa un like, pulsa subscribe, por favor. Taylor Fritz is hell to love. So that's the last 2 games have gone the way of the American to love. And he's on a bit of a points-winning streak, 18 minutes into this match. 4-1, he now leads. I do like Nicolas Jarry. I think he's had a great year. Probably Bublik is the slight favourite, especially as Bublik had a pretty good win today. Straight sets, I think it was, wasn't it? Over Tiafoe. I mean, a good win, but Tiafoe does seem to be in not a great space right now in terms of his form. I think he was I think he would have lost to Dan Evans last week if it wasn't for Evans's injury. And he then plays Gael Monfils, and I think he would have lost that match if it wasn't for the fact that Monfils was struggling physically in the second set in particular. And then he lost in straight sets in his next match. So, yeah, anyway, it's a good win there for Bublik either way over the number 14 seed. And I would make him the slight favourite over Nicolas Jarry. But Jarry's had a great year, you know. Jarry, apart from Djokovic, did anyone push Alcaraz as much as Jarry did at Wimbledon? I'd say no. Picking up a title in Santiago as well on home turf, obviously is good news for him from early on in the year. So yeah, Jarry's had a great year. And where's Where's Zhao currently ranked? He's in the top 30, I think. He's in the top 20, though. Oh, he is. He's just reached number 20 in the world, which is his highest ranking. So there you go. Okay, Baez to serve here at 1-4. Yeah, I think I know what you mean, Matthew. By the way, Ventagres, Xavi, and anybody else that is hasn't already hit subscribe, please do so. Ventagres, I can see you've come over into YouTube. There's a T in the bottom corner. Click on that, and you'll be helping the channel a lot. We're also on all the socials at Talking Tennis TT, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Oh, a forehand there from Baez goes into the net. And I'm going to say 12 points in a row for Taylor Fritz right now. If it's not 12, it's at least 11. Oh, it's 14. It's 14 points in a row now, have all gone the way of Taylor Fritz. Deary me. And Baez's serve is just not powerful enough. And Taylor Fritz is just eating it up for breakfast. And the forehand is working pretty well for Taylor right now. He's going to make it 15 in a row, surely. I think he's in charge of this rally. Lovely forehand there. And yeah, 15 points in a row now for Taylor Fritz. It's all Taylor right now. Does this match, or the nature of the victory, if it does come the way of the American, does it tell us a lot about where he is? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know your thoughts on Andy Murray as well in the live chat. Also, there's the vote. And by the way, yeah, Fritz has now won 16 points in a row as he leads 5 games to 1. So there's the poll, which I think is probably about time I closed it. So get voting now before I do close the poll. Because his lead is just too comfortable right now. Let's go for another one, shall we? Let's put who's winning Paris Bercy. Let's go Djokovic, Alcaraz, other. Oh. I mean, I think Sinner and Daniel Medvedev will probably have a say in where the title goes, but I can only have space for 4 people in this poll. So that's why I've gone for, and I think it would be unfair to put Medvedev and Sinner in there and not have at least another other category. So do get voting in this poll. Good question, Matthew. Good question. I'd have to have a look at the draw. Maybe I can do that live on air. Maybe we can do that. Let's go on the TNNS app. Oh, it's probably too late. I can't do it, of course. Yeah, of course. But I can still have a look at the draw at the very least. So Taylor Fritz here trying to serve it out. He's at 40-15. Give me a few minutes, Matthew, and I'll tell you. A lot depends on the draw and probably the condition of Sinner and Medvedev, who've played a lot of tennis lately, and even Alcaraz's health coming back. But I think Alcaraz's draw is a little bit kinder than. It's a double fault there for Taylor Fritz, by the way. Alcaraz's draw is a little bit kinder, maybe, than Djokovic's. Yeah, Taylor Fritz has another set point here, by the way. Let me see if I can bring up the draw again. I seem to have lost it momentarily. Give me a few seconds. As Taylor Fritz does end up winning the first set by 6-1, fairly comfortable for him. We will take a short break, and when I come back, Matthew, I will be answering your question.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
So I'm just having a quick look at the draw, Matthew. I'm going to go with Novak in his section to get to the semis. Hardly the biggest call in the world, but I just think that maybe Ben Shelton losing. I don't think Davidovich Fokina has quite got the game to trouble Novak, despite what I was saying about what happened in Cincinnati. Somebody like an Artur Fils maybe just could throw a span in the works. Who knows? That would be a potential, I think, quarterfinal for Novak. Holger Rune as well. A Holger Rune from a year ago or even 6 months ago would have posed a lot of questions. But right now, given the Danes' form, despite a semi-final run in Basel, I just don't think he could take a set off Novak. So I do see Novak emerging the winner from his section to get to the semi-finals. The next one is also interesting. I do wonder about Jannik Sinner and the energy he has in his legs right now, having played so much tennis recently, getting to the finals in Beijing and Vienna. So, yeah. And I think he went out quite early in Shanghai. I'm just going to have a quick look. Jannik Sinner, Shanghai. I think he was one of the many seeds that fell pretty early. Yeah, he lost to Ben Shelton in the round of 16, albeit super tight match. But I had a feeling that he might just have a bit of fatigue there, particularly as it was coming on the back of the, was it Tokyo 500 he won when he beat Alcaraz in the semis and Medvedev. So then we've got basically Sinner is the sort of main one in that section. And Andrei Rublev. I'm going to go with Rublev to get to the semis. From there, Sinner will have to play the winner of Wolf or McDonald. So it's not too bad for the second round, but he might have to play de Minaur in the third round. de Minaur, Lajovic or Bonzi. de Minaur is someone, of course, they did play each other in Canada in the final there, which Sinner won pretty comfortably, but maybe these conditions might help de Minaur a little bit indoors. But anyway, I'll go for Rublev and Djokovic in the top half. Then in the bottom half, what a first round, by the way, for Hubie Hurkacz, Sebi Korda. I mean, that's a tough first round for someone who is chasing a potential spot in Turin, but may well have to go 2 rounds further than Rune. So if Rune does make that quarterfinal with Novak, Hurkacz would have to make the final, basically. Yeah, it's looking okay for Rune right now. That maybe that semi-final run he had in Basel, combined with the fact that Hurkacz couldn't quite get over the line in the final against Felix, meant that Rune might just have too much of an advantage over the pole. And Taylor Fritz is the other sort of player in this debate. And Taylor Fritz looks like he's in a pretty good condition right now. He's winning so many points. I mean, at least Baez did push him on his serve as Fritz was trying to serve it out. But Baez here, love 30 on his serve. So this could be done in double quick time. Do hit the like button. And by the way, subscribe if you are new. I will go for Hurkacz over Sebi Korda. Good win for Bautista Agut, by the way, the returning Bautista Agut over Lehetska. So that's going to be interesting. If Hurkacz is going to do some damage at this tournament, he's going to have to beat Sebi Korda and then Bautista Agut, and then maybe Casper Ruud. But I don't think there's any guarantees that Casper will make the third round. So let's go because of the motivation that Hurkacz will need and certainly have in that little group. I do have Hurkacz getting to the quarters, where I will say that he'll end up playing Medvedev or Dimitrov. But let's go with Medvedev, and I think that's where Hurkacz's run will come to an end. So I'll have Medvedev making the semis. Tsitsipas, tough run for him against the winner of Felix or Jan-Lennard Struff. That could go either way. I'll just go with Felix, and then I think Stefanos will beat Felix. Zverev against Tsitsipas, a potential fourth round is that. And by the way, Taylor Fritz has broken serve, so he leads 1-love already. Things are looking very good for the American right now. Up a set and a break over the Argentinian Sebastian Baez. Just 5 minutes into this second set. Yes, so I've got Medvedev against... Am I going to go with Zverev or Tsitsipas in that match? Oh, of course, then we've got Alcaraz. If Alcaraz is okay physically, he makes the semi against Medvedev. So there we go. I guess the only crazy one, like I'm not going super ambitious on some of my predictions in terms of those semis, but I am going for Rublev at the expense of Sinner. I'm not saying that Rublev will necessarily beat Sinner. Sinner may well go out before then, but we'll see. We'll see. Back to the matches at hand. Dimitrov is up a break already on Musetti. As I say, I think Dimitrov is a potential semi-finalist amongst those listed. Thompson, by the way, is up a early break on Nishioka in the second set. Yeah, I watched the last few games, basically. I didn't see the 5-2 game. I saw the end of the 5-4 game as he was serving for it. And once it get into 5-all, you're thinking, oh, my goodness. Bearing in mind the fact that Murray's had so many problems with de Minaur in recent weeks. What is their head-to-head now, by the way? Have a quick look. I imagine, oh, dearie me. That is an uncomfortable head-to-head. I thought Murray had beaten him at some point, but wow. Dearie me. And of course, the last two would be particularly painful, where he lost in a tiebreaker there. Look, de Minaur won the first set 6-3 in Beijing, but then Murray won the second 7-5, and then they went to a tiebreak, and he lost 8-6, Andy, in that tiebreak. And then today with a double breakup on de Minaur, looking to win his first ever match against the Australian. Oh, they were including a Laver Cup one amongst that. Yeah. So that's uncomfortable reading for Andy Murray and all his fans, and very uncomfortable. I don't know if you saw Andy's reaction, Matthew, at the end, where he's just smashing his racket over and over and over again. Who are you picking for the semis, by the way, Matthew? Anyone else in the live chat as well? Let me know who you're picking for the semis. And, of course, get voting in our poll. No one is voting for Djokovic as yet. I guess your others basically means Medvedev and Sinner. It's a nice easy smash there for Fritz, and he holds for 2 games to love. So this stream could be over pretty quickly. So please hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. Tommy Paul against Richard Gasquet still to come. It'd be nice to see Gasquet get a sort of hero's welcome in front of the Parisian crowd, bearing in mind how many more times are we going to see Gasquet play in front of the French crowd? I don't know. Anyway, Baez to serve here at love 2. Dimitrov is now up a double break on Musetti and is serving for that first set. Good serve there from Baez that kicked up and Fritz found tricky to deal with. And as a result, it's 15 love to the Argentinian. Les Leger winning today in 3 sets over Van Asch. Van der Zandstoep, I just saw the conclusion to that match. He was serving for the match. Maybe was struggling a bit with the French crowd in terms of their support for Manarino, but in the end, he did get over the line 7-5. De Minaur winning in 3 sets over Andy Murray, as we discussed. Khachanov winning in straight sets over Purcell. Khachanov, I think, is in the same section of the draw as Carlos Alcaraz, as in a potential maybe sort of 4th round or 3rd round for Carlos. Muller, the Frenchman, lost to Safiullin in straight sets today. Bublik winning straight sets over Tiafoe. Tiafoe just can't seem to buy any form at the moment. I know you might say he got to the quarters in Vienna, but I think that was largely down to the injuries to his opponents. Was it quarters or 4th round where he lost to, was it Sinner? I think, in Vienna. Gritzball winning in 3 sets over Eubanks. David Fokina, really good win for him in 3 sets over Ben Shelton. Jarry, straight sets over Popperin. And Lehetska losing, I should say. Bautista Agut winning in straight sets. Really good win for the Spaniard there to progress to the next round. So, back to the present. Dimitrov serving for the first set. Thompson up an early break on Nishioka. So actually, I think I said Thompson won the first set. No, he didn't. Nishioka won the first set on a tie break, and now Thompson leads with an early break in the second set. And Fritz is up a set and a break here. A lovely volley there from Sebastian Baez. 40-15, he now leads. Yeah, super, super painful. 6-0 now, that Murray head-to-head. Of course, all of those matches, because of De Minaur's age, have come in the latter part of Murray's career, i.e. post-hip operation, which may explain the lopsidedness of the head-to-head. But the last 2 defeats and the way that happened today, dearie me. I think the one at Queens would have hurt as well, given how just comfortable it was. Baez holds, by the way, for 1-2. And we'll take a short break, and then we'll be with you for the rest of this set.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material, such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, Dimitrov has indeed won that first set over Musetti. His forehand certainly helping him out at certain points of that concluding game. So good news for Dimitrov and his fans as he seals that first set 6-2. Fritz is up a set and a break. Yeah. Oh, let's just have a quick look at some comments that are seeming to emerge from Andy Murray, who possibly in the lowest ebb of his post-hip operation career. Is that fair enough to say? Interesting quotes emerging from Arina Sabalenka as well. We'll come to those in a minute. But first, let's have a quick listen or a quick find out what Andy Murray has been saying in his press conference afterwards. Stuart Fraser here is quoting him, Andy Murray, after his brutal defeat in Paris today. I'm not really enjoying it just now in terms of how I feel on the court and how I'm playing. But the 36-year-old said he's not done yet. I'm going to need a lot of work. And there we see him smashing his racket after losing that match. He will be at the Davis Cup, of course. Unlike Dan Evans, unfortunately, we all saw that bad news emerging over the weekend that Dan, unfortunately, his season is done with a 3.5 centimeter calf tear. So that's him out of Malaga, where Davis Cup finals are being held. Some semi-good news is that despite Cam Norrie pulling out of Paris Bercy, it does appear that it's nothing too serious and that he should be okay for Malaga. So yeah, before then, of course, we've got WTA finals, which have already got underway, and the Billie Jean King Cup as well, which gets underway next week, and Talking Tennis will be present there. Talking of the WTA, it looks like there's some comments here emerging from Arina Sabalenka regarding her match with Maria Sakkari. She won last night, 6-love, 6-1. So, Arina Sabalenka, I'm happy that I was able to stay focused tonight, overcome the conditions, and play well. I have to say, though, that I'm very disappointed with the WTA and the experience so far, the WTA finals. Okay. As I said in my press conference tonight, as a player, I feel disrespected by the WTA. The WTA is coming under a lot of fire recently with Rebecca criticizing them pretty heavily in recent weeks as well. I think most of us do. This is not the level of organization we expect for the finals, to be honest. I don't feel safe moving on this court a lot of the time. The bounce is not consistent at all, and we weren't able to practice on this court until yesterday. Yeah, that's odd for the first time. It's just not acceptable to me with so much on the line and so much at stake. All that said, I definitely want to show my appreciation for the local tournament organizers, everyone that built the court at the last minute, and everyone that's working here at the event. I know it's not their fault. I want them to know, as well as all the Mexican fans, that I love them and appreciate them. I'm very happy to be in Mexico. I'm just upset with the WTA and this situation. Well, yeah. I mean, the fact that the whole tournament wasn't organized until, or wasn't declared that it was going to take place in Tokyo until 6 weeks before, suggests that the WTA do need to pull their finger out. Taylor Fritz is trying to pull his finger out here. He's at deuce on his serve right now as he looks to hold his advantage in this set. He's up 2-1 with a break, and he now has a game point for a 3-1 lead. So yeah, interesting. And I saw John Millman as well backing up the comments. I saw this post from Marino and completely agree it's not acceptable, especially at the WTA finals. But I might also add that this is a common occurrence week to week for non-seeded players in ATP events, challenge events, and I'm sure WTA events. It's an uneven playing field each week. Interesting comments there. Yeah, I guess if you get a bye, in particular, you're going to have a lot more practice time before you play your first match, such as Alcaraz and Djokovic. Talking of Alcaraz and Djokovic, Alcaraz on his relationship with Djokovic. We have a very pleasant relationship. He's a wonderful person. It's nice to talk to him. He doesn't give me advice. In the end, we are fighting for the same goals, but we talk about other things, the tour, the things that can be done better, other sports. I asked him about the rugby final he attended. In the end, we played tennis. These are very good moments that I have with him on the off the court. It's nice to be with him, he says. And we see that nice picture of the pair after they practiced together the other day, or mid their practice, perhaps I should say. So there we go. Taylor Fritz, by the way, and Baez are in a bit of a dogfight here on Fritz's serve. And Sebastian Baez has a break point. I think it's his first one of the match as he seeks parity in this second set. So, yeah. Break points 1. Fritz's Taylor. Taylor is 3 from 3. Sebastian, it's his first break point of the match. So let's see how he gets on. Backhand return. Backhand from Taylor. Backhand slice from Baez. Forehand from Taylor. As they exchange forehands. I remember at this stage last year, Baez putting that forehand wide, deuce. Or at the second round stage, I remember watching Rafa Nadal play Tommy Paul. Rafa was up a set and a break, ceded that advantage, and Tommy went on to win the match and have a reasonably good run in the French capital. So not all lost here for Sebastian, but the gap between him and Fritz in that first set was pretty wide. Taylor Fritz, good serve there, ace. Game point now for the American. Advantage Fritz. 46 minutes on the clock. This is kind of the first game, I would say, that's been pretty lengthy. We've had 2 or 3 juices. Goes down the tee. Forehand Taylor. Trying to whip it up a bit. Backhand from Fritz. Backhand Baez. It just feels as though there's going to be an error off the Baez racket sooner or later. And there it comes. And Taylor Fritz holds for 3-1. Thompson still with that break advantage over Nishioka. And Musetti and Dimitrov are on serve at the beginning of the second set there. So Taylor Fritz now edging closer to a spot in the second round and edging closer to applying a little bit of pressure to Holger Rune and Hubie Hurkacz as they battle it out for that final spot in Turin. I keep calling it the final spot because I do imagine Tsitsipas and Zverev to get enough wins in Paris to secure their spots in Turin. Oh, Nishioka has a break point right now. To get that back on serve. Nishioka winning that first set 7-6 as well. Drop shot from Taylor, nowhere near good enough. And Baez punishes it, 15-love. Do hit that subscribe button, by the way. I think it's the T in the corner. Oh, okay. Djokovic has finally got some votes in our poll. Do get voting. Baez serving here. Looking pretty good on this service game to hold. After Taylor puts a forehand long. And Sebastian Baez does indeed hold serve. So it's 3-2. Now a game point for Thompson as he seeks to consolidate his advantage there over on court number 2. For those of you just tuning in, do hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Fritz and Baez here at 3-2 in this second set, albeit that Fritz does have a break of serve. Thompson is trying to consolidate his break advantage against Nishioka. And Dimitrov and Musetti are at the beginning of the second set after Dimitrov won the first set 6-2. As Baez and Fritz have a short rest while they change ends. And we have a quick look at Stan Wawrinka warming up. Wawrinka, of course, will be in action later on against Dominic Thiem. I say later on. Right now, they're anticipating a 10 o'clock start for that match. The Andy Murray 3-hour, 3-set epic certainly has thrown a spanner in the works of the Parisian organizers. So Wawrinka team will follow Gasquet, Tommy Paul. So we've got this match, which of course I'm sure the organisers are desperately hoping that Fritz can get this done in straight sets so they can move on to getting the next match underway by about 9 o'clock. If Fritz was to say win the next 3 games, we might get the next game underway by 9 o'clock. And if they get done in straight sets, but there's a good chance. There is a chance that Wawrinka and team take the court at midnight. There's a chance. Anyway, Wawrinka, of course, taking it very seriously. I can see him warming up ahead of that match. Wawrinka and Dominic team, of course, 4 Grand Slams between them. Are they warming up together? No, surely not. I just see now Dominic team warming up. Dominic team is qualified, of course. I saw him very pleased with his qualification. Anyway, Taylor Fritz to serve at 3-2. Let's get back to the present rather than the future. Dimitrov is held, as has Thompson as well. So there we go. Taylor Fritz 3-2, and it's on the Baez forehand. It's a good forehand winner. Love 15. Taylor Fritz has been ruthless on his break points so far, winning all 3 that he's managed to garner. Baez has had 1 break point, and he wasn't able to take it in the previous game. Fritz to serve. Goes down the tee. Forehand return from Baez. Backhand from Baez. Forehand Taylor Fritz. Forehand from Baez. Backhand Fritz. Oh, that's a good backhand there from Baez, and it's got Fritz on the run and Fritz on the defensive. But now Fritz is back in the rally on the forehand. Baez let him off the hook there, I would suggest. Oh, is Fritz going to get his racket on this one? Yes, he is. But Baez is very much in charge. Oh, an unforced error, of which there's been too many off the racket of the Argentinian today. Fritz Baez, 15-all. By the way, later on, we'll be bringing you commentary of the first match in Cancun. Miles will be bringing you commentary of that, so please tune in for Marketa Vondrousova, the Wimbledon champion, against Iga Swiatek, the French Open champion from this year. So that will be the match that we'll be covering from Cancun this evening. Meanwhile, here in Paris, Bercy, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Jane there, obviously showing her support for Hubie. He's in a race to Turin, a race that is looking a little tricky. I think for me to make Hubie the favorite, which I probably did before the Basel tournament got underway, Hubie had to win that Basel tournament, really. So losing that final to Felix might be the difference between him making Turin and not making it. Because I do think Rune will get a couple of wins in Paris. Anyway, 40-15 here for Fritz. And he has held serve for 4-2, much to the delight of the organisers, who must be struggling to get all the matches in. As I say, there is a scenario where I can easily see the match between Wawrinka and Dominic Thiem starting after midnight. Because we've got another match to fit in, unless there's a way of rejigging it and they can move around courts. Good return that from Taylor. Backhand Taylor into the net, though. 15-love, Sebastian Baez. And Dimitrov is broken already on Musetti. So for those organisers desperate for some straight sets wins, Dimitrov and Fritz may well be obliging. As the forehand from Baez goes wide and we're at 15-all. Be interesting to see how many unforced errors from Baez so far today. So just having a quick look at some of the stats right now from this clash here on centre court between Fritz and Baez. We've had 6 aces for Taylor Fritz, none from Sebastian Baez. That stat maybe doesn't entirely surprise, bearing in mind where we're at with their serves and height. 1 double fault apiece. First serve points won, interestingly, though. Baez is leading that race, 65 to 53%. But, first serves in, I do apologize. Okay, that makes a big difference. First serve points won, couldn't be more different. Taylor Fritz has won 80%, whereas Baez 45. Second serve points won is fairly even, Stephen, though, at 59 and 58. I already spoke about the break points converted. Ruthless Fritz winning all 3 of his that he's garnered. Yeah, let's see if I can find those unforced errors. Actually, it's a bit closer than I thought. Just 7 off the racket of Baez, it seems, as opposed to plenty that I thought. I thought it would be more than that. And 6 off the racket of Taylor Fritz. So there we go. But the winners count, 21 winners off the racket of Taylor and just 5 from Baez. So that's another key difference as Sebastian Baez holds for 4-3. As they go for a change of ends. Taylor Fritz 4-3 with a break. So he's at the same point in this second set as Jordan Thompson, who has 4-3 with a break over Nishioka, albeit that Nishioka won the first set there. So they may be going to a third set. But Dimitrov and Fritz, I just see Fritz looks like he's getting a bit of medical attention. That was why the umpire got on the walkie-talkie earlier. That would be very annoying for Taylor, bearing in mind the scoreboard right now and also with ambitions of making it to Turin. It might not be too serious. Might just be a little... Yeah, it's something with the abs, I think. Maybe he did it on a serve. I'm not sure. I didn't see the incident when it happened. I just saw the umpire get on the walkie-talkie. Maybe I can tune into what's being said. Hang on a second, guys. Bear with me. Okay, 3 minutes and the doctor are required. So medical timeout for Taylor. It's going to be on the court, reminding me of the Rafa. Oh, was that when it happened? No. It's when he's stretching there, maybe. It was one of the crazy points that we had. Yeah, and he just sort of went to the side, went to his side there. And he's just noticing on a serve, it seems, as well, which is, of course, when it's going to be under a lot of strain. Yeah. So a 3-minute timeout, albeit on the court for Taylor. This would be unfortunate timing for the American. In the meantime, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Yeah, Matthew, you can chat to your coach. They changed that rule just over a year ago. What are they going to have a chat about? Let's have a listen. The security guard doesn't look happy with Baez. He's frowning at him. But yeah, he said that. You can do this. I wonder if they're talking about what's been going on or even what to do, bearing in mind his opponent might be a little bit lame. But you allowed some on-court coaching, yeah. With that changed about 15 months ago. Okay, unfortunately, the commentator's talking over them. Otherwise, I'd try and listen in and relay what's being said between Baez and his coach. Taylor continues to get some treatment. I'm going to tweet this out. Taylor Fritz leading a set and a break over Sebastian Baez, but taking a medical time out. Paris, Bercy. So let's tweet that out there to the masses. Talking of Twitter, or X as you may well want to call it, please do give us a follow on Twitter at Talking Tennis TT, Instagram and Facebook the same, so you can keep up to date with all things tennis. There's Taylor Fritz there getting a bit of medical attention that I was just talking about. I mean, it looks like they're doing something with the knee there, but it's actually more... yeah, we all remember what happened in Paris early on in the year, don't we? I put that in that image in the thumbnail. So really, Taylor just needs to sort of get over the line here if he possibly can, and then see how he feels over the next 24, 48 hours. As he leads 15-love. He does win the first point. It was a forced error, I would suggest, on the backhand side from Baez. Fritz was in charge of the rally. I know you are. Okay, that's unusual though, Matthew. I remember Coco Gauff and Brad Gilbert having lengthy conversations during a pause in the match, what we thought was going to be a 2-minute pause against Mukova, but ended up being an hour-long pause. Good first serve there from Taylor, suggesting that whatever this injury is, it's not hampering his serve too much. That's his 7th ace of the match, to 0 from his diminutive opponent. Just hoping he's going to have enough on that serve to get him over the line, I'm sure. It's a good backhand there from Baez. Okay, 40-15. Maybe he can also do some damage on the return if necessary as well, where he might not need to stretch as much as he would when he's serving. In fact, Taylor Fritz does indeed hold. So Baez is now going to serve to stay in the match. But because of this potential doubt regarding the ab, I do think it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Very much so. But we might not have much longer, so please hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you are new. Also get voting in our poll as to who you think is going to emerge the winner at Paris Bercy. Djokovic there. Alcaraz at the moment getting the most votes, possibly because of Alcaraz's draw, maybe slightly more favorable. I'm not so sure, actually. Okay, it's an interesting point there, Matthew. So do get voting, because that poll may be closing soon if this stream does come to an abrupt end in the next few minutes. Sebastian Baez here, serving to stay in the match. Dimitrov remains a breakup and on Musetti in the second set, and Thompson is serving for that second set to push that to a potential third. Baez here at 3-5. He is serving to stay in the match. Can Taylor break for a decisive moment? Taylor on the backhand. That's a decent backhand. Baez on the forehand slice. Baez again on the defensive there. Forehand from Taylor, backhand from Baez. But that's great depth there from Sebastian, forcing the error. And it's 15-love. Keeping you across all things Paris Bercy. Hi, Ashley. Please hit the like button, Ashley, on this video. Goes down the tee. Forehand return from Taylor. Backhand slice from Taylor is wide. Of course, we've got Wawrinka against Dominic Thiem still to come, but although you can see 10 o'clock local time there, I would not be surprised if that match starts after midnight. There is an image, of course, of Taylor Fritz getting his medical timeout. He may well be forced to serve this one out because Baez is on the verge of holding, or I say on the verge of holding. He's 30 love up, but that's a lovely forehand winner there from Taylor Fritz to make it 30-15. Thank you, Ashley, for hitting the like button. Be cool. Be like Ashley. Hit the like button. Baez is going to win a Clay Masters tops, you think, in 2024? Not so sure. But if he is going to win a Masters, it'll be on clay. I'm pretty sure it won't be on hard, and especially indoor hard. Baez did win an indoor... Sorry, Baez did win a hard court title, though, I think, in Winston-Salem. Did he win the Winston-Salem? Who won Winston-Salem? I think it was him. Was it Baez won Winston-Salem? I think it was. I dream that. Yeah, beat Lehetska in the final. There you go. So Baez is a hard court champion, albeit at 250 at least, from this year. Thanks, Ashley. Confirming that. So, keeping you abreast of all the results, or the scores, I should say, as they happen right now. Thompson has leveled things up at 1 set all in his clash with Nishioka. So they're going 3. Something that I suggested that the organizers won't be too happy with, because they'll be desperate for some short matches right now because of how far they are behind, especially on the center court, where Murray, of course, was in a 3-hour epic earlier. I say Murray. There's obviously 2 players involved, and Murray lost to Alex de Minaur. And I do think lose is probably the operative word, bearing in mind Murray was a double breakup in the deciding set, 5-2. Served for it twice, wasn't able to close it out, and ended up losing 7-5 and his temper as he smashed his racket over and over again. Sebastian Baez holds for 5-4, by the way. And regarding Ghosty, Ashley, yeah, we saw him yesterday for the first time in a few weeks. He joined us in the live chat. It was wonderful to see him back on board after a hiatus. And yeah, by the way, for those of you tuning in right now, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We, by the way, have press accreditation for the Billie Jean King Cup. So I'm going to be off to Seville with my colleague Antonio, where we'll be covering that end of year sort of women's team tournament over in Seville, bringing you much closer to the action, getting some interviews and all sorts there, and press conferences and all the information and news emerging from southern Spain. Also, we have live on the channel tonight, Miles will be bringing you live commentary of Iga Swiatek and Marketa Vondrousova. So hit the notification bell and you will be alerted to when we go live for that. Is Baez going to win? Jay Badisco asks. I don't know tennis and I bet on Baez. I don't think so. But if there's one chink of light, one possibility, Jay, it is this. It is the fact that about 15 minutes ago, Taylor Fritz did have a medical timeout. As you can see, he took some treatment for what appears to be an ab injury. As long as he's healthy, I think he'll get over the line. And he may just need 3 or 4 good first serves, and it might well be enough. Miles, are you suggesting that Baez is going to win? By the way, Jay, wonderful to have you on board. Jay, click the T in the bottom corner to subscribe to the channel. So that way we can keep you across all things tennis, and you can learn some new things about the sport. And who knows, maybe even win some of these bets that you're having. Fritz wins the first point for 15 love. Dimitrov remains a breakup on Musetti, so he's very close to winning in straight sets. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. Okay, 15 love, Taylor Fritz. Where are you going with this serve? You're going out wide. As I said, you want to get some first serves in here, and that's a wonderful forehand. The movement might be slightly hampered, but the forehand and the serve thus far hasn't been. It's funny when you get an injury. Sometimes it can focus the mind, or an illness as well, and you just go, you know what? I'm going to get my first serves here. None more so than that 5th set between Rafa Nadal and Shapovalov in Australia last year. I remember just Rafa just getting his first serves in. That's a good forehand, though, from Baez, putting Taylor in a bit of trouble here. Taylor on the defensive, and he loses the point, 30-15. Is Baez just drawing a little bit of confidence from the wounded animal down the other end of the court? Taylor Fritz here, serving at 30-15. He's 2 points from victory. 2 first serves for Taylor, and you think that will probably be enough for the American. Gets that first serve in, unreturnable. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes when you are just feeling it a bit physically, you just focus the mind. You go, you know what? I'm just going to do everything to make sure I get my first serves in. Maybe even take a little bit off the first serve to just concentrate on that. 2 match points here for Taylor Fritz over the Argentinian Sebastian Baez. Where are you going to go with this one? Down the tee, just as I suggested. It's an ace for the American. I think there's going to be a challenge from Baez, but I think it's going to be fruitless. And we're going to basically see this landing comfortably in, but I could be wrong. Down the tee. Yep. Hitting the line. And Taylor Fritz wins in straight sets over the Argentinian Sebastian Baez. So Taylor Fritz is through, and he stays and remains in the hunt for a place at the end of year finals in Turin. John, who do you have to make the finals for this tournament? As I suggested earlier, I have Rublev getting to the semis, Djokovic making the semis, Medvedev and Alcaraz. And I'm going to go for an Alcaraz-Djokovic final. I guess it's not the craziest prediction. Rublev is my kind of outlier in who I can see making the semis, partly because he's in the same section as Sinner, and I'm just wondering how much Sinner has in the tank. Who do you have? Who do you have winning, by the way? Because I've got a poll right now going on YouTube. Get voting in this poll because I will be closing it fairly shortly. Djokovic, Alcaraz, or other. And I guess for many of you, other constitutes Medvedev and Sinner. They will be the sort of next favorites. As Javier says, Fritz, nice one. Yeah, we do need it. I think we were so disappointed we didn't get it in New York, particularly as Medvedev wasn't able to put up a strong fight in the final. I do see Tsitsipas and Zverev getting the wins that they need to get them to Turin. So then it leaves one spot. I think Tsitsipas and Zverev, by the way, might not even win a match, and they'll still have enough in the bank to make Turin. So if we assume that those two are there, and then it becomes a 3-way fight between Fritz and I'm just going to share this with you right now. Fritz and Hurkacz and Holger Rune. There are others still in the fight, but this is kind of where we're at. And you'll see what I'm saying here with Tsitsipas. Really, I think, just probably doesn't even need to win a match to seal his spot. I think you'd have to have like a Rune. You probably have to have a Fritz Hurkacz final with Rune making the semis and Tsitsipas going out in the first match for Tsitsipas not to make it, some sort of crazy scenario like that. So I think Tsitsipas will be fine. Zverev probably needs 1 or 2 wins to just seal his spot. So I think he'll be fine as well. And then it comes down to Rune, Fritz, Hurkacz, Ruud, Paul, and de Minaur. Paul in action, I think, a little bit later on, or in fact, very shortly against Gasquet. Ruud, I just think his form is nowhere near good enough right now, and he'd probably have to go on and win the tournament to have a chance of making it to Turin. And de Minaur, despite his win, is just coming from too far back. Ben Shelton, I think, is pretty much now out of the race. In fact, he's definitely out of the race, having lost earlier to David Fokina. Khachanov is still in the race, but also he'd probably have to win the tournament and hope basically Rune, Fritz, and Hurkacz blow up. Rune, Fritz, and Hurkacz, therefore, I do see it, therefore, between these 3 as to who's going to make that final spot in Turin. And I think Hurkacz may well pay the price of not managing to win the title in Basel. I think if Hurkacz had won that, it would have made him favorite for Turin. But now, because of the points advantage that Rune holds, I think Hurkacz probably needs to go 2 rounds further than the Dane. So a a second round exit, as in for Rune, and Hurkacz would need to make the fourth round. Rune probably needs the 2 or 3 wins I think he might well get. Rune, of course, could be a potential quarterfinal opponent for Djokovic, but even if Rune lost that quarterfinal, I think Hurkacz would have to make the final. Fritz, similar scenario, also not in the best of form, despite today's straight sets win. So, all in all, I think Rune probably has enough in the tank and enough of an advantage to get through, and therefore I see that happening. Neither, Jay, and I'll tell you why. Because Dimitrov, the odds will not be very good. Dimitrov is going to win, is what I'm suspecting, bearing in mind that advantage that you can see he has. He's up a set and a break. But I would imagine you're not going to get very good odds. You're probably only going to get a 10% increase, maybe even less, probably 5% on your money. So it's probably not even worth touching, to be honest with you. Dimitrov there, look, we can see he's up a set and a break, leading 4-3 in the second set. Please do join us again later on this evening. We will have, I say later on this evening as it is here in Central Europe, later on this afternoon if you're in North America, and later on this morning if you are tuning in from Australia or Asia, I guess, as well. We will have the Marketa Vondrousova and Iga Swiatek match from Cancun. Talking of Cancun, I don't know if we saw the comments emerging earlier from Aryna Sabalenka, who was very critical of the organization in Cancun, saying that very little practice time out there. She was very, very critical of the WTA and their organization. I will just bring you this right now. Look at these comments here from Aryna Sabalenka, who did win her first match, 6-1, I think it was, over Maria Sakkari. But here are the words that she said. "I'm happy that I was able to stay focused tonight, overcome the conditions and play well. I have to say, though, that I'm very disappointed with the WTA and the experience so far of these finals. Remember, of course, these finals were rushed and decided just, I think it was towards the end of the US Open, so 6-7 weeks ago, that they said we're going to hold it here. Why they can't settle on a venue and say next 5 years it's going to be here, like the ATP with Turin or previously with London, I don't know. Anyway, as I said in my press conference tonight, as a player, I feel really disrespected by the WTA, and the WTA is coming under a lot of fire recently, notably from Rybakina, but also 1 or 2 other players in terms of the organization. This is not the level of organization we expect for the finals. To be honest, I don't feel safe moving on this court a lot of the time. The bounce is not consistent at all, and we weren't able to practice on this court until yesterday for the first time. It's just not acceptable to me with so much on the line and so much at stake. All that said, I definitely want to show my appreciation. And for those of you just tuning in, this is Aryna Sabalenka talking about the organization for the WTA finals in Cancun currently taking place. I definitely want to show my appreciation for the local tournament organizers, everyone that built the court at the last minute being the operative word, and everyone that's working here at the event. I know it's not their fault, and I want them to know, as well as all Mexican fans, that I love them and appreciate them. I'm very happy to be in Mexico. I'm just upset with the WTA and this situation. So there we go. Jay, Javier, and anybody else that may be new to us, please hit subscribe. We will be back with you later on for another commentary from the WTA finals brought to you by Miles. But for now, it's for me. It's over and out, and you know the drill.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Play.
And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Inshallah, have on chauffeur. I don't know, shisha.
Ready. Play.
And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. You see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.